Alright, today we are going to talk about this guitar. Hammer. This guitar. This guitar has quite a story to it, so if you're not into long, detailed, filled stories, this video is probably not for you. This is a 1989 custom-made Hammer Vector V. I had this made for me. Let's start from the beginning. Here we go. Long story alert. I was in a music store and I saw a V that was black and yellow checkered. I thought, wow, that guitar looks so cool. Picked it up, played it, really liked it. It was a Hammer. I ended up buying it, and I loved that guitar. I loved it. I would practice so much that I would sometimes lay down on my bed and I'd put the guitar standing next to me, so when I woke up I could just pick it up and start playing again. So this is crazy. This is crazy how I remember all this, but I remember it. I just got done practicing and I was tired, and I put the guitar down next to me on the side of the bed. And I remember having a dream that my guitar was in trouble. I mean, as kooky as it sounds, I remember having this dream, oh my God, my guitar's in trouble, my guitar's in trouble. I woke up kind of like, you know, in a motion that the guitar that was on the side of the bed kind of, when I woke up, and the guitar fell flat on its face. I was like, oh. So I went and I picked it up, I played it, I looked it over, gave it a quick look over, and everything seemed to be fine. Everything seemed to be fine. The next day, when I picked it up and I started practicing, I noticed that what had happened was right in this area right here, the headstock was cracked. It was cracked like you could just push the headstock and it would just crack right off. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie, I started bawling. I was like, you know, finally I got this guitar, the best guitar I ever owned, and I broke it. Fast forward to, okay, what am I gonna do about this? Every music store in town here in Milwaukee that I called, none of them would touch it. Can't fix it, can't do nothing with it. So I got in touch with Hammer, and at the time, Hammer was in, I believe, Arlington Heights, Illinois. This was 1988, 89, 88. And I called them up and I said, hey, look, here's the situation. I got this guitar. It's got a cracked headstock. this is what and I said, could you fix it? And they're like, yeah, we think so. And I said, well, this is what I want you to do to it. Because the guitar actually used to belong to another local guitar guy around Milwaukee. Used to be kind of a big name dude. And everyone, oh, you got Mike's old guitar, you got Mike's old guitar. So I like, yeah, I got Mike's old guitar, but I wanted it to be my guitar. So what I told Hamer is I said, hey, look, I got this idea for a guitar that I've had for quite some time. I want to send you the guitar, you know, strip it down, fix the headstock, repaint it in the paint scheme that I want it to be, put it back together, send it back to me. And the paint scheme was very much like this one. Half the body black, half the body white. White polka dots on the black half, black polka dots on the white half, all the way up the neck, and then also had my name. You can't really see, there's a block inlay here right now, but have my name in the neck. So some time went by and they contacted me and they said, hey, look, for like just a couple of $100 more, what we can do is we can take all the parts off your old guitar, send you the old guitar with no parts on it, and just build you a brand new guitar with your old parts on it, and there you go. I said, all right, do it. So I got the old guitar back, and I kind of did a little glue job myself, and it held. Don't know really what happened to that guitar. I think I traded it to somebody for something. I don't remember, but so then I get this guitar custom made for me. It was in 1989 when I got it back. Custom 1989 Hamer Vector V. It actually had my name in the headstock, Nettie Stands, with the money symbol for the S. And so, like, this was my new main guitar. The guitar sounds a little weird. It's tuned down a whole step. I had used it the last time I used it was for a gig, and we actually did play a Sad But True. So now I got this guitar. It's black and white the way I wanted it, and it was my main guitar for quite a few years. I was playing in this band. This would have been in the early 90s, maybe 1990-ish. And this band, Doc Hammer, that I've been playing on and off with now for almost 30 years, we all lived together in this house. There's many stories just about that in itself. But anyhow, we lived in this house, and we used to play under the name the Sizzo Brothers. S-I-Z-Z-O, the Sizzo Brothers. We came up with that name because the drummer and the bass player used to work with some guy that every time he would bum a cigarette, he's like, yo, brother, give me a Sizzo. So we became the Sizzo Brothers. We used to play at this little bar every weekend doing 50s, 60s, 70s music to pay our rent, you know, until we got Doc Hammer going full force and all of that. So one night we went to the gig, did the gig. I left this guitar back at the house, and we had two roadies, road crew guys that was working with us a lot back then. And one of them said he was sick, couldn't make it, something or other. Okay. So we do this gig, and this was back, I was in my early 20s, and we were doing some heavy partying. So after the show, we ended up back at some after-hour bar, after-bar party, hitting it pretty hard. So I just remember sitting there and drinking or whatever, and Gary, the drummer, all of a sudden he had went home, and then all of a sudden he comes back and he comes up to me And he like grabs me and he's like, dude, our house got burned, our house got burned. And I was in a state where I was a little confused. I'm like, our house burned down, you know, our house is on fire. Dude, he's like, dude, our house got burned and they stole your guitar. What? Instantly, we all leave the party, we head back to the house. Sure enough, house was broken into, wiped us out of everything that was there at the time. This guitar being one of the things. We knew it had to be that guy. So we called the cops. They come, they file a report, and I'm going insane. I'm crying. I'm hysterical. I'm punching doors. You know. Remember, I had just come from a party where I was indulging in a lot of things, a lot of stuff. So we filed a police report. We end up, you know, crashing, getting up the next morning, and what had happened was the one roadie that was with us that night, he's from the neighborhood where this other roadie hangs out at, and we were all involved in some characters that, you know, were a little shady. So he goes into the old neighborhood and he starts asking around, hey, you know anyone that's got this for sale or that for sale? I got some guys that are looking to buy this and looking to buy that. And one of the guys he comes across, he says, yeah, I'm not going to mention the guy's name, but he says, yeah, dude's got all that stuff, man. He just burned some band last night and he's got all this stuff. And I was like, bingo, we got you. Now, where is he at? Doing a little further digging, we found out that he's holed up, I think maybe it might have been his brother's house. So we called up the cops and told them exactly what was going on. And okay, where's the location? And we said, here's the location, we'll meet you there. In the meantime, you know, we had a weapon. I'll just say that. We had a weapon, and we figured if the cops show up and they don't do anything, or if he doesn't let them in or whatever, we're gonna handle this situation. So the detectives show up and they're like, well, what do you want us to do? And we're like, he's in that house, he's got our stuff, and they're like, basically, you know, we can't really do anything, we have no proof. They said we can knock on the door, but if he refuses to let us in, we can't come in. All right, well, go try. So we're across the street, we're watching them. They go, they knock on the door opens, they let the two detectives in. A little while passes. One of the detectives comes out and he points at me and he says, he wants to talk to you. So I go in the house. As soon as I walk in the door, everything was there except for my guitar. He's sitting on the couch, bawling like a little baby, whatever. He got popped and he knew it. And he said that after he robbed our house, he called up a friend of his and said, hey, I just robbed this house, but there's a bunch of stuff there that I didn't take. Doors open, go rob it. My guitar he didn't take my guitar, but the other guy took my guitar. So I said, hey, look, dude, I said, you get on the phone with the other guy, you get my guitar back, I won't press charges. So he gets on the phone with the other guy, the detectives get on the phone, they get it all squared away, and I'm gonna get my guitar back. He hangs up, and the cop says, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, I want to press charges. He's like, what, you said you weren't gonna press charges? I said, look, you know what, man, this is the least of your worries right now, is that you're getting charges pressed against you. You're lucky that these, you know, and I was getting a little loud, and the detectives were like, hey, you know, no. Following day, we show up at the police station, and there's all of our stuff, or I would say almost all of our stuff, including my guitar. So I did get the guitar back, you know, like the following day or the day after that. One thing that never got recovered was, I guess one of the band members had a little bag of some green stuff. That we didn't get that back. So now I got the guitar back. Now, you know, it's back in my possession, all of that. There was one year prior to that happening, I was playing in a band and we were traveling around the Midwest doing some shows, and we were up in Green Bay. And after I had just gotten the guitar, just got it like that weekend, playing it for the first time, you know, with the band. So we finished this gig in Green Bay, and everyone is pretty much gone except for me and one of the owner's sons. Not my proudest moment, but it's a little history of, you know, this guitar. So him and I are in the back office, and we're looking at a guitar. He was a guitar player. He's like checking it out and looking, all right. And he had some stuff, you know, that you would sniff. So I said, hey, you know, and I was, you know, and I'm like, hey man, you know what would be a great idea, you and me, man, let's just pour it all on the guitar and have at it. So the guitar acted as a mirror at that point. So this guitar. So I've had this guitar since 1989. It had been stolen once, got it back. Now, fast forward to like the mid 2000s. The thing, I kind of outgrew this guitar because when I had this guitar made for me, I didn't know anything about neck dimensions. I knew nothing about it. I just thought, oh, if the guitar felt good, it felt good. Well, this guitar, it has an inch and 5/8, what's called the nut width. The width right here at the nut. Inch and 5/8 really being the narrowest of the mass-produced guitar necks. And also it's got a 24 3/4 inch scale, which means the frets are a little bit closer together than as opposed to a Stratocaster that's 25.5 inches a little further apart. Well, once I started realizing all these things, I realized that I like at least a minimum of an 1.11/16, which is the middle of the road nut width, or an 1 3/4, which is like the widest for a mass-produced guitar, with the 25.5 inch scale neck, the longer Fender style neck. So in the mid 2000s, I had gotten back from Florida. I was in Orlando for like 13 months going to school. Didn't pan out, whatever. And I'm just like, I'm hurting for some money, and I'm thinking, you know what? This guitar was really in bad shape. It was black and white, cracks, chips, I mean, just really in bad shape. So I'm like, I didn't enjoy playing it anymore. So I just decided, hey, you know what? Why don't I sell it and let someone else enjoy this guitar? You know, I had enjoyed it, now it was time to let it go. So I ended up selling it on eBay, 2005 maybe, something like that. Sold the guitar, guitar's gone. Now let's fast forward to about 2014, 2015. Trying to make this already very long story even less long. I got in contact with a guy that I knew from a forum called the Jackson Charvel Forum. His name was John Sullivan. They called him Sully. I had found out that he's building guitars. And I had gotten in contact, I think this might have been through MySpace back at that time. And I said, hey, you're building guitars? He's like, yep. I said, hey, do you remember that black and white polka dot V that I had? He's like, I remember that guitar. I said, can you build me a V like that with that same color scheme, but with the neck dimensions, 25.5, 1 3/4. We ended up going with 1 11/16. He said, yeah, I can build that. And he's like, that's so weird that you contact me, because the guy that does his painting had this guitar in the shop being repainted this color scheme. Black and green instead of the black and white. Also, he had the body recessed. This used to not be a non-recessed Floyd Rose. He had it recessed so you could pull up and all of that. And a plain block inlay and taking my name out of the neck. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So he sent me pictures of it being done up, whatever. Few years after that, I was just on the internet, just decided to punch in Hamer Vector V, just for shits and giggles. And all of a sudden a picture of this guitar pops up. And I'm like, what? I click the link and it sends me over to reverb.com, which is like a musician's, like an eBay for music gear and such. And sure enough, some guy was selling this guitar. I want to say $1,700 or whatever. And I had always kind of thought, you know, it was like one of those guitars that I wish I had back. Even though I didn't care to enjoy playing it. I mean, this guitar was made for me at one time. So I contacted the guy and I said, hey, I'm buying that guitar. Paid him, he shipped it, and I got the guitar back. So there it is, the crazy story of my custom-made 1989 Hamer Vector V. I did end up getting the Sully V made, the black and white polka dot one made with my name and all of that. Now, I'll probably do a video on that guitar as well. Probably going to do a video on all my guitars because it seems like they all got some kind of kooky story behind them. My life just seems like it's been one kooky story after the next. So here's my custom 1989 Hamer Vector V, and this is one that my son said that he would like after I am not on this world anymore. I'm really not on this world a whole lot anyhow, but you know, physically. So there it is, 1989 Hamer Vector V.